And yeah, a good amount of frost this morning. Water bottle didn't look like it was frozen, and then as soon as I opened it and started pouring. I'm really hoping the sun's gonna hit me before too late here, because I hate having to pack away the tent fly while it's all frosty. Sun's just about to arrive. It's a little after 8. I decided to give it a little longer. I hate having to unpack everything middle of the day in order to defrost stuff. I like having everything sorted once I leave, and then I just hike pretty much all day. The weather yesterday was just crazy. You saw it started out clear, that I kind of expect, had those mixed precipitation storms throughout the day. I was seeing thunderstorms further out this direction, but I fortunately didn't have them come out where I was. I get nervous when I have, a 4-hour stretch without a good bailout and I'm up high. So the long exposed ridgelines and traverses and things have kind of characterized this section, it looks like, but it seems like it's going to get a little bit better up ahead, where it's going to be more like that second pass yesterday, or that last pass yesterday, where it's up and down. I tend to be a lot more comfortable that way, because if the weather hits too badly, at least you have, you're not up there for 4 or 5 hours with no recourse. That's more like it. In other news, it looks like in about 16 miles, I'm done with the Colorado Trail people. That's good and bad. Obviously, I like meeting people, but I like camping alone, so I don't like it times like last night where there's congestion at the campsites. But the Colorado Trail maintains the trail really, really well. I did see at least one note up ahead, this won't be for a couple of days, that said 6 miles of blowdowns that were kind of bad. And it's like, oh, hey, back on the CDT. The unfortunate thing with the cold and everything and the frost first thing in the morning is I tend to wake up the first time at 4 something. So I'm spending a lot of time in tent where I could be walking, but that's okay. I've got enough daylight, at least for the moment. Yesterday, I was pretty happy with the mileage I did. I made 20 miles, so I'm kind of back on the napkin math. I was figuring 15 a day gives me a little bit of fudge. But it really just seems like it's the weather. I'm in okay shape. You can still have good days and bad days, but if those storms had come and forced me off the ridge, or if I decided, oh, this looks too bad, and I'd held on that far side, you just can't, make my miles. At least for the moment, I think I'm okay on food. It's always a little hard to judge. And it always feels like the day you leave town, you're like, oh, I brought way too much food. And then, 4 days in, you're like, maybe I should have grabbed a couple of more bars. So for comparison, altitude-wise, I was just checking, and that Creed shortcut that cuts off this entire section, that stays down around like 10 or 11. And if you take the green line, which is the Great Divide alternate, I think it's basically the bike path, you're down at like 9K. I've got things melting on me all over the place. If you are on the red line here and you hit bad weather, it is possible to basically drop off the ridges, and there's some lower stuff in the middle. There's some roads. I've been able to see buildings down there, so it's not like you're completely trapped here and stuck. I am hoping to stay on the red line, but it's just, you can do what you can do. Since I've had a little extra time this morning, I've been patching things. With the rain pants, I'm pretty sure I just caught it on a log or something. I've had this big tear flapping around for a while, and I'm afraid I'm going to catch it on something and basically rip the entire leg open. Best thing I found for patches is this Gear Aid tenacious tape stuff. Comes on in various sizes. Right now I'm basically using the bigger patches. You can also get it in a roll and cut it down, but I'm lazy. When it gets this cold, most of my stuff's fine. If the bottles freeze, they're not going to blow or anything. The two things I take special precautions on are the water filter, because if these freeze, they're basically ineffective. It won't filter out the stuff anymore. So I put it in a bag. If I have the quick draw, I don't even have to worry about that, because it actually has a bottom cap, and I just throw it in my sleeping bag. And I do the same thing with my batteries. My phone, I'll just keep in a pocket somewhere on me. Food-wise, the easiest way I've found to plan is, first, make sure you have enough coffee, so if you break your leg and you're stuck for 2 weeks, you're good. After that, I make sure I have enough breakfast, usually peanut butter, just because it's easy, it's dense, and it's really easy to find everywhere. And then I just go by dinners. Right now I'm using a combination of rice and beans I had left over, north sides, which are kind of last resort at this point, and I supplement it with whatever cheese I can get. After that, I just try and get enough snacks and candy and whatnot, and As far as daily food, I'll usually try and get something hearty like trail mix, 2 bars, and then maybe some like cookies or something. Right now I'm doing these because, again, they were what was available. It can be a hard balance to hit. The good news with altitude is I'm generally not as hungry. You know, you're up at 13K, your stomach just, you don't want to eat as much. I usually have a little bit extra, if anything. You know, I'll throw 1 or 2 extra bars or some trail mix in as a buffer. I did, however, run out of food on the Theodore Solomon Trail a number of years ago. I ran about a day short getting into VVR, and that was not pleasant. Late departures like this, meaning, you know, after 8 o'clock, are the norm for me. I prefer hiking later anyway. And once I get going, I don't generally stop. So that schedule works. But the weather out here has been making me regret that in a couple of cases. Like right now, it's absolutely beautiful. It's calm. The weather is just changing on a dime. It has been just crazy. Yesterday, the snow was hitting me. The wind, you know, I'm like, oh, I need to get in the tent, By the time I was setting up, completely dead still, stayed still all night. Day before, when I left Lake City, I left and it was blue skies. The rain had passed by, the afternoon thunderstorm, and then that thunderhead just kind of formed out of nowhere. This is why I'm acting so kind of gun shy on the high sections. I also don't think I'm going to stick with this Hyperlight pod. You know, I paid a good amount of money for it to try it, and I like the idea. The shape fitting in the pack kind of had some appeal. But the problem is with this zipper, I have to be really careful. It's one thing with things like my long johns or, you know, sleep shirt, but when I'm dealing with something that is lighter material, basically my puffy and my down pants, down socks, I have to be really careful not to catch it. And all it takes is one really good catch, and then you got a hole in this material, which is just a bummer. The roll top one is fine. It's a little bit tight for my 0 degree. I also like to keep down socks and a pillow in here. You know, it is 15 liters. Honestly, I have some Mountain Laurel Design ones that are a little thicker DCF, and I'll probably go back to those. Just because what'll happen is one day, either the seam will pop, which usually doesn't happen, or just this material will get a slit. It's just too much pressure. Welcome to the continuing adventures of Matt, breaker of all the things. It is at least a beautiful start to the morning, though looks like probably wind up high based on those wispy clouds. Looks like the trail's basically going to go up here, over there, and I have a lot of up and down to do over the next 150 miles. I don't know where they started exactly, but per the Gaia map I have as a backup in case I have to bail off the far outline. This is officially the San Juans. So it is prime time, and I am very happy I did the warm-up over Grays as much as I struggled and I hated having to go back into Winter Park. I struggled with the altitude quite a bit, obviously, and it was good to get that over with before I came through here, because it's over 12K basically the entire way. Like I said, 145 miles till I see a 10,000 foot mark. Okay, 9:15. I'm just trying to get back up to the trail without getting covered in ice. The CDT. Oh, pretty sight. Debated setting up my tent in that flat spot right there last night, but with how the weather was when I was hunting around for a site, I figured the more in the middle of the brush I was, the better. Well, that sucks. That was the same bike packer from yesterday. Turns out that sprinter key I saw in the high point was probably his. I thought about grabbing it and posting a comment, but there's bike packers out here. There's Colorado trail people out here. There's CDT people, and then there's day hikers. And the apps are different for all three of those. And I only have the CDT one. So we just posted a comment with his phone number, and hopefully somebody will see that ahead of time and grab it. Silly me leaving camp with my fleece put away. You know, I still miss my Arc'teryx Fortress. I had a lime green one I just loved. It got stolen or left behind at a restaurant. Wasn't able to find it. Tried, and they haven't made them for years. But this R1 fleece does both insulate but breathe really damn well. I tried to replace it because this chest pocket doesn't fit a phone. And what sort of psychopath makes a chest pocket that won't fit a modern smartphone? And literally, I think this is the best one on the market. If I had a thicker rain jacket, I might layer directly into the rain jacket to block the wind. But in conditions like this where I'm sweating, I prefer fleece than the rain jacket. That way the fleece absorbs the sweat, rain jacket blocks the wind, and I can vent out the holes of the rain jacket. And no, I am not sponsored by any of these people. Actually, this jacket is sponsored by my parents. They were nice enough to buy it for me when I needed it in an emergency. But yeah, outdoor companies don't seem to do that. At least not for little rink-a-dink hikers like me with non-marketable channel names. The only offers I get are for Chinese electronics and Chinese clothing. Yeah. Slash, oxygen is overrated. All the marmots. There's a moose down there grazing by the river, left side of the creek where the hill starts to get steep. Only Jen we're here. Marmot cuddle puddle. This would be a little faster going if it wasn't straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. I'd be missing hiking through all the trees, but it seems like everything around here is just completely wiped out. Pretty much all of those are dead except the little ones on the upper slope. Lose all that altitude just to regain it right over there. I haven't been worrying too much about water sources because there's enough puddles and whatnot, but this one's rather nice. It's listed as like Rio Grande Creek, something like that. There's actually another guy here, 75 years old and a solo hiker. So, of course, I just lost like 20 minutes chatting with him. His trail name was Proud Mary, and that was Jen and I's launch song for the southern part of the Mississippi River. At least so far the clouds are holding. I'm hoping for no storms. It just feels like fall. It's cold. Unfortunately, it's 2 o'clock and I've only come 8.5 miles. Now I still got another 5-6 hours maybe of hiking. This is just making me work for it. Yesterday I made 20, but there were long, sections where I could kind of get going. Here it's like, okay, down for a mile, straight back up. I'm trying hard not to dehydrate myself, but it gets hard when it's cold like this because you're not thirsty as much, and when you do drink, like right now, you get kind of cold. If I was smart, I would have had my tent fly out drying while I was talking to that guy, but I start talking and I don't think of anything else. That's why Jen and I make a good team. I'm the social one, and she would have had the tent fly out. I was hoping to make it to the point where the Colorado Trail splits off, but I think that's another 8 miles or so, which I might make. figure, okay, 2 miles an hour, maybe. Some of these hills are slowing me down. And it doesn't matter that much. It's just, I won't know for another couple of days whether my food is going to be sufficient or insufficient. So it behooves me to get as many miles as I can. I was really happy yesterday when I made 20, even though that last pass hurt quite a bit. I was coughing in the tent just because the lungs, as you're going over those 13ers, always seem to take a bigger beating. The other town that people resupply at, Silverton, is in this next 2 to 8 mile section, all the various access points to it. But people are talking about hitching down a hill on ATVs and Jeeps, and that's always a crapshoot. And I did see at least one comment by somebody who says, yeah, he kind of wishes he didn't. It just eats time so much, and I want to get through here before the weather gets any worse. But hey, every day the pack gets lighter. I'd say maybe the trail gets easier, but it doesn't look like it. It's going to stay up this high. And this nice tread I've been enjoying. This is a feature of the Colorado Trail. I don't know how much it's going to slow me down once it's only the CDT. Just when I feel like I'm out in the middle of nowhere, Colorado throws in a road. I've seen one ATV, but I go that way. This is how that gentleman is hoping to reach Silverton, though. Okay, last 5 miles until I lose the Colorado Trail. Still hoping to make it a little past that tonight, but we'll see. I always seem to have some issue once I get going like this. I'm fighting a little bit of chafing. Kind of a shame it's about 4 miles too early. This area looks promising as far as being able to find a spot with at least a little amount of cover. I think that's going to be a challenge over the next couple of days. I started seeing snow, so I layered up. High country around here is so bloody cold and windy. And here we go. Colorado Trail heads up that way, finishes at Durango after dropping down to Silverton. My way goes this way, a little bit more altitude. I can't tell if the storm's blown out or if I'm just a little more protected, but it's at least a little nicer, getting the occasional snow flurry. So I have a low point in 1 mile and a low point in 4 miles. It's 5:30, which is annoying because that's just close enough to maybe go for the ladder, but I'm not feeling another high point right at the moment. Over by that mine entrance, there's a cabin. There's a couple of old mining cabins out here. There are notes about people trying to stay in them and running into issues with rats. I also kind of assume they don't know much about antivirus if they're trying to do that. It looks like it'd be cool to explore. Oh well, another day. Okay, 6 o'clock. Things have calmed down somewhat, but this is about as low as I'm going to get, assuming I can find water, which per gut hook comment I should be able to. This is going to be home sweet home. There's actually a road up on that ridge. Okay, filled up for the night, and it's time to get out of the snow here. Comments mention the cabin a ways back, but not whatever that camper is. Okay, I guess this is as good as anything. Not that I'm going to have a fire, but at least it's established ground. So it turns out that's actually a car camper. I haven't seen him outside, but I sure as heck wouldn't be outside in this. Well, I dug around in the bushes and found something that I think might be a little better protected, but it's always a crapshoot, and the ground's a little less than ideal, but it'll work for tonight. Home sweet home. Huh. And here we go again. Right before dark and everything cleared out after a rather nasty storm. Interesting.